Well, good morning, everybody. I hope your weekend is fun and relaxing. It's so nice to have this time together. And let's just get comfortable, getting ready to move and breathe together. I have a poem to share with you this morning. And what I'd like you to do once you get settled into your posture is close your eyes. Let your lips just very gently touch together, relaxing your jaw and shoulders, letting your spine come into its full expression of length. And take a moment to put to the side of the mat everything you've been involved with up to this point this morning. It might be thoughts, it might be things you've been kind of running around doing. It might be emotions. See if you can wipe the slate clean, knowing that all of those things are important and they're going to be there for you after your yoga and meditation practice this morning. Take a moment to just let it all be put to the side of the mat. Get comfortable and allow your awareness to drop down inside you like a little stone that rests at the bottom of a riverbed. So the current is sweeping over you. You can feel the movement of air, perhaps on your skin, like a stone getting swept with fresh water over it moment by moment. But sitting there so still, full of awareness. This poem by Dana Falls is called Estuary. There is peace here where the river widens to meet the sea. The rapids are past. The boulders and the rocky places at last give way to a broad and sweeping current, flowing slowly into vastness. The river moves silently. It tastes the salty tide that marks its demise and slips without a backward glance into the ocean's infinite embrace. Keeping your eyes closed, begin noticing your breathing. Let it deepen. Just as the water moves over the rocky places, we can slow and deepen our breathing, like the estuary, sweeping ourselves out into vastness, a place where things are broad and open. And with your next inhale, lift your hands palm to palm in Anjali Mudra in front of your lifted heart. And take a moment to set your intention for your practice this morning. What is it you would like to shine the light of your awareness on? Acknowledge it to yourself and repeat it to yourself. When you feel complete with your thought, let your hands come down and take a nice, deep, slow, cleansing breath. Each of you has your own intention this morning for your personal practice. And John and I have an intention for our collective consciousness this morning. And that is for all of us to practice feeling the vastness, the depth of our connection, the limitlessness of potential. Just taking a moment to even touch on it for a moment during our practice this morning. reminding ourselves that that is what life is. When you're ready, you can make your way out into plank pose, getting long in plank, maybe doing a little mountain climber for a breath or two, but eventually ending up in downward facing dog, stretching your arms and letting your heels drop towards the earth and letting your head hang between your biceps. Make any movements. Take some time for noticing. I'm just going to let the rain stick play for a few breaths here as you make your way into down dog. And begin noticing your body on your mat. Take a couple more breaths here. And then with your next exhale, put your knees down and reach back into child's pose, touching your big toes together. Knees spread out wide apart. Hips back to heels. Stretch the undersides of your arms. Hike up onto your 10 fingertips. Lifting the armpits up and away, and maybe rolling them off to the sides. Take a nice deep cleansing breath. And then eventually make your way up onto your front body, on your mat. Place your elbows under your shoulders. Open up all 10 fingertips so that your palms feel open and relaxed and your fingers are spread away from each other. Roll the shoulders down the back of the rib cage. Lift the crown of the head. Lift the heart and the gaze. Now push all 10 fingertips into the mat and pull back isometrically. Take a nice deep cleansing breath here. And then you're going to release that energy. Come up onto your knees. Interlace your fingers for dolphin, tucking your toes under. You're going to lift up in the hips once more. Let the head hang, let the spine uncoil. Walk in a little bit to tap into your inner core strength as you slide your heels towards your mat. Inhaling, exhaling. And then softly put the knees down on the mat. And yogis, if you would like to pad for your knees, go right ahead. We're going to do some gentle lunges here. And get the blanket or towel beneath your knees. And then you're going to leave your right foot back and step your left foot forward. And what I'd like you to do is place your left hand on your knee and sweep your right arm up. So you're going to really be reaching for your ceiling here. And then make a little crescent shape over to the left. See if you can dial your gaze towards your ceiling without discomfort in your neck. And then release. Now, do the other side. Simply put the left knee back and step the right foot forward, right hand to your knee. And you're going to draw the arm up. Gently tug your fingertips up towards your ceiling. And then you're going to let yourself curve over in a crescent shape over to the right. And breathe deeply. Deep, wide breaths. Open and smooth. Come back. Good. We're going to do the other side, switching back once more. Again, back toes are turned under for added stability. Come back here where we were before. This time, inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, take your hands to heart center. Pivot your right elbow over your thigh bone, and then dig deep into the earth to lift the back knee up. And begin spinning your heart towards your thumbs. Hold your gaze on one single point over on the wall of your room. And then set the knee down and unwind. We'll do the other side. So left knee back, right knee forward. Back toes are curled under. Inhale, we lift up together. Exhale, come to your heart center. Pivot this left elbow across the right thigh. Here we go, gonna dig deep into the earth, lifting up the back knee. Slide your spine nice and long as you turn towards the side of your room. And again, you wanna hold your gaze. It's gonna keep you in place. And you can always put the back knee down if it feels too wobbly. And release, come back to center. Okay, yogis, we're gonna come into down dog again. So what I'd like you to do is slide right out into plank pose and do a little mountain climber, getting the big joints of the body warmed up, and then lift up. Let your heels slide towards your mat. Arms are long. It almost feels like arm bones grow in down dog. We're letting this moving forward energy be present in the hands. And then the backs of the hips are lifting up towards your ceiling. And your head is just bobbing along like a little bobber on top of the water. And then knees down. Now, yogis, if you have a blanket or something to sit on, I would recommend grabbing that. We're gonna come into boat pose. So place your blanket on your mat, and then you can sit on it, making a nice soft cushion for yourself. We're gonna start with a fun pose called balancing bear. You're gonna hook your peace fingers around your big toes, roll the shoulders back. You're gonna pull the abdominal wall in as you lift your heart and find something to gaze at, a little speck to gaze at as you push through your heels and lift those heels nice and high. Feel what it feels like to press through the backs of the heels up and away. Hold your gaze steady. Heart is open. And release. Now that's a lot of work for the core. So here we go, adding a little yin to our practice. We're just gonna reach in and relax the core. Now we're gonna take it into boat pose. So if you have a brick and you'd like to, you can put a brick between your thigh bones as a way of adding a little toning. If you don't use a brick, that's fine. Fingertips beneath your knee joint. Roll the shoulders back. Lift your toes up so that they're at the height of your eyes. You can gaze right out. Stay right here or begin that pushing action and maybe even letting go. So if you have your feet together touching in this posture, takes a little pressure off. Exhale, release. And you can always take your feet away from each other, your legs away from each other with no brick, and that will add a little more difficulty to the posture. A little yin before we do more yang. And then come back either with the brick or not using the brick. You're gonna roll the shoulders back, press the toes up so your knees are bent and you can see your feet. And then stay right here or begin lifting the heels, straightening the legs, bringing the arms out to the sides. Have a little focal point for your gaze and release. And again, reach in, relax. Building up a lot of deep core strength doing boat pose. Last time, okay? It's always good at boat pose when you get to say last time. Fingertips under the knees, roll the shoulders back, let the heart shine forward. Find your happy place. Bent knees, straight legs, our hands holding the legs, arms out to the side, gaze skyward, and release. Reach in, relax. Just notice, close your eyes perhaps for a breath to really notice what's happening as you release from that very energetic boat pose. You might feel a little warmth in the belly. And then come on out of that. We're going to come into down dog as a way of coming to standing. So plank pose and down dog. Take a deep cleansing breath, lengthening. And then look at the center point of your mat, bend your knees and step up to it and walk your hands back. Take opposite elbows for ragdoll and swing yourself about. Head hangs. And come to center, release the hands, and then hands to hips, come on up to standing. And we'll do some sunbursts together. Inhale, we lift up together. Exhale, we dive deep together. Inhale, lift up halfway, arms stretch wide. Exhale, deep bow. Inhale, reverse your swan dive all the way up. Exhale to your heart center. Inhale, we lift up together. Exhale, we dive deep. Inhale, lift up halfway, big wingspan. And exhale, deep bow. Inhale, reverse swan dive, swing up. Exhale, heart center. Last time, yogis, we open up together. We bow to our shared practice together. Inhale, we sweep on up, finding our full expression of openness. Exhale, deep bow. Inhale, reverse swan dive, lifting the heart. And exhale, come to your heart center. And you're going to take your feet a little bit wide. If you like the idea of bringing the feet out to the edges of your sticky mat, feel free to do that. That sometimes just kind of feels like just the right amount of width between the feet. Inhale, lift. Take a hold of the left wrist. Peel over into this crescent shape. And then see if you can rotate gently through the shoulder complex so that you're taking this top arm back a little bit. And you can actually look up at the ceiling without your arm blocking your view. And then try straightening and lifting your chin away from your throat. And go slowly as you release, getting a lot of energy flowing along the sides of the body. Really good for us. Inhale, lift. Exhale, like we did on the other side. Take the right wrist, glide over, nice deep crescent shape in the body. And then see about drawing this top arm back. There's just a very subtle yet very pleasant rotation to the shoulder complex. And look up and see if you can bring that arm back so that it's not blocking your view. And then practice straightening your arms any amount. And then take the chin away, lifting the gaze. And release slowly, letting everything flow. Inhale, we lift up together. Exhale, diving deep together. Inhale, lift up halfway, opening up. Exhale, bow. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Bring your hands up, tap your palms together, and draw the arms back a little bit, lifting the elbows. Now hug the muscles of your legs to the bones of your legs. Pull your abdominal wall in, engaging the glutes as well. We're lifting up through the tips of the elbows and then letting the heart lift and the weight of the skull roll back. And release. And roll the shoulders. Now take your feet, tops of the feet to touch, little gap between the heels, coming into Utkatasana. Hands start out at the hips as we get ourselves oriented here, get some organizing in the body. I want you to shift back a little bit into the heels, so much so that maybe you can lift your toes up off the mat. And then turn your tailbone ever so slightly, right? It's just that little dialing of the tailbone so that it's looking at the earth. It's going to bring a little zing to the lowest, deepest abdominal muscles. Now what I'd like you to do, yogis, is lift your arms up nice and high and lift your gaze. And then bring your right arm across midline, left arm on top. If this is too intense for your shoulders, just lay your palms down. You're gonna sit down low in the hips, lift up high with the elbows, and release. Go nice and slow, coming to that underwater slow motion swimming that we do. Coming back to Utkatasana, hands to hips. Sit back in the heels, turn the tailbone, lift the arms. And then you're gonna take your left arm across midline, right arm on top. You're sitting low as you lift your elbows high. And release. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, heart center. Now let the arms come down alongside you, palms shining forward, feet step apart. So you feel very sturdy, mountain pose, like a mountain on the earth, rooting down, rising up, finding that full expression of length in the spine. Notice how when we do this, it eliminates all hunched shoulders and rolling the weight of the skull forward. We're like a little fern, like a fiddlehead. We're just unraveling, we're unfolding towards the sun. Close your eyes and feel the beautiful vibrations of rooting down into the deep, rocky earth and lifting up into the vast, limitless sky. And open your eyes. And let's come into tree pose together. So pick a foot to balance on, whichever foot you'd like to balance on first. Grow some roots down into the earth. Other leg comes up anywhere you'd like it to be in your practice this morning. You're either holding a wall or a chair, or you're just in the center of your mat, eventually opening your branches to the sun. Try lifting your gaze. Notice the energy shift when you look up towards your ceiling as opposed to on the floor. And release. We'll do the other side together. Open up the sole of your foot, connecting to this earth we share. Other foot comes up. Anywhere on the inside seam of your standing leg. And here we go. We're going to lift and open our branches, gliding skyward, lifting our gaze, opening up our branches to the sun. And release. Bring the foot down and let's lift. As you exhale, yogis, bend your knees and come on out into plank pose. Inhale and plank with your knees up or down. Exhale to slowly lower. Take the tops of the feet down. Lift the head and the heart up. Inhale and exhale slowly and deeply, broadening. Lift the hips up into down dog when you're ready. And take another nice, deep, cleansing breath. Now let's inhale into plank together, knees up or down. Exhale to slowly lower. Inhale, we lift up into Bhujangasana, Cobra Pose, lifting and opening. With one of your next exhales, tuck your toes under and lift your hips into down dog. And take another cleansing breath as slowly and deeply as you can. When you're ready, inhale into plank and exhale to lower. Inhale to sweep up, lifting up. Now this time, open up your fingers broadly, relaxing your palms. Press your 10 fingertips down, elbows in, lift and open. And reach back into child's pose. Knees wide, big toes touch, head comes down. Let the armpits lift and spread off to the edges of your mat. And come on up onto all fours. Walk your knees up towards your wrists. Cross your ankles, roll over to seated. And just give the wrists a little shake before we come into tabletop. Feet are hip width apart here, pointed forward. Fingertips are going off to the sides like little seal flippers behind you. Hug your shoulder blades toward each other. Again, pull the abdominal wall in and then lift the hips to the height of your knees. Once you've gotten your hips lifted up nice and high like a tabletop, let the head roll back. Breathe deeply, using some strength of the back body to keep the hips lifted. And release. And we'll come to our standing poses. But like we do in yoga, let's do it together with choreography. Let's climb our way out into plank pose and lift up into down dog. Take your feet to the edges of your mat for a nice deep cleansing breath, letting the head really lower towards the earth. And then look at the center point of your mat, bend your knees and right up to it, walking your hands back. And then bring your feet to touch, snuggle your rib cage onto your thigh bones, hands to your calf muscles, drop the skull like a bowling ball. And you're going to simply begin straightening your legs with awareness. So you don't have to come to straight legs. Just come to a place where there's a pleasant opening in the muscles, the strong muscles on the backs of the thighs. We don't want to overdo it in this pose. This is all about gently opening. And then hands to hips. Come on up to standing. And we'll get ready for our open hip poses. So let's, all of us that are using bricks this morning, grab them. Put them on the high setting. Bring your feet out nice and wide. Open up the toes. Let's pause for a moment to just lift and open the toes, and also lift the inner arches of your feet. Keep your arches lifted as you set your toes down. Get strong in your legs. Feel that organic energy of all those muscle groups, holding the bones, hugging them, holding them in place with support. Inhale, lift. Exhale, float the palms down and get big and broad and vast here. Close your eyes for just a moment, just to feel that sensation of rooting down into the earth and rising up into the sky and taking up lots of space. And then inhale, lift up once more. Exhale, relax the shoulder blades down the back of the rib cage. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, sweep the arms open. Now turn the left toes forward, bend your knee, inchworm your back foot back. Shoulders ideally are over the hips here. Inhale, flip the palms over. Exhale, gaze over the left fingertips. And as you're holding steady here in Fearless Warrior, also known as Peaceful Warrior, see if you can feel your back heel and the outer edge of that back foot on your mat. And then sweep yourself back into Reverse Warrior. If you like the variation of holding the wrist, go ahead and do that. If you feel like doing the traditional version this morning, then do that. Peeling open. And then exhale, we come forward, and you can either have your forearm to your thigh bone, use your brick, or hold your inner ankle. Roll your top shoulder back and get really long. Feel the outside edge of your heel, that back heel, on the mat, and then let that energy, like sap in a tree or water being brought up from the roots, go right up through the crown of the head. And then peel this arm over. And you might find a little extra length this morning by bringing the fingertips all the way over as if they're reaching for the left wall of your room. Now push into your feet and cartwheel up. We're coming into Exalted Warrior together, lifting and lengthening and opening ourselves. Exhale, arms straight out from heart center. We pull the energy of Pada Bandha, our connection to the earth, into the solar plexus, and then begin the glide. Once you've come to your full expression of that piece of the posture, left hand comes down, right arm soars, lift your gaze, take a little bit of the weight of your skull back, a little bit of the weight of your lifted arm back, and then hand to hip, bend this left knee, come up, turn the toes, and we've got the whole next side to do. Inhale, lift. Exhale, relax the shoulders. Inhale, lift the gaze and the fingertips. Exhale, float the hands out. Rooting down, rising up, pivot the right toes, and bend the knee. Let that back leg inchworm away so that you can find enough space for the pose. And you can get your shoulders over your hips. Now, pivot the palms so that they're looking at the floor. Gaze over your right fingertips in Fearless Warrior. And then see if you can feel the back edge of that back foot on the mat. From here, we're going to exhale the back hand down and bring this right arm over the ear. Again, you could always clasp at the wrist or take the traditional version, which is drawing the arm bone back, finding a deep crescent shape. Back leg is super strong and straight here as you make a nice deep crescent shape with that rib cage on the right side. Exhale, place your forearm at your thigh bone or your brick or your inner ankle, roll the top shoulder back. Again, you want to bring the outside edge of that back foot into contact with your mat. That's going to be a stabilizing force. And you're going to reach your spine long, tipping your heart, rolling it towards the sky. Eventually, the left arm comes over and you just notice maybe a little extra lengthening in the posture as the fingertips reach for the right side of your room. Getting long and open, remembering to lift the gaze and have the chin away from the throat. Dig deep into the earth with your feet and cartwheel your way up, lifting, lengthening, and opening. So when we take the chin away from the throat, we move out of this deep thinking place and into the place where we can, with our awareness, feel what's happening in the body. Feel what's happening as you stretch your right hand up. And then feel what happens when you exhale your arms out broadly with the palms shining forward. Pull the energy of Pada Bandha right up into your solar plexus and then glide. Feel yourself gliding forward. Eventually, your right hand comes down as your left arm soars. Once you're here, connect with the outer edges and the heels on your mat, and then try taking a little weight from the arm back. Try taking some weight from the skull back. Gaze lifts, heart opens, and then hand to hip. Bend your knee, come on up to standing. Turn the toes, inhale, we lift up together. Exhale, we dive deep together. Take a nice deep bow here. Take a deep cleansing breath. Now inhale, sweep up to halfway with big wings. Exhale, bow. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Swing up. Exhale to heart center. Hop your feet together. Give a little swing. Maybe close your eyes so you can feel the posture. And we're going to come back to wide-legged stance here. So bring your arms straight up. Exhale. Bring the feet under the wrists. If it feels too wide, heel toe in a little bit. Heel toe in a little bit if that helps. You want the feet pointed forward. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, float out. Broad, vast, limitless. Turn the left toes forward. Now, keeping this sensation of being vast, limitless, bend the knee. Keeping all this energy that you've been cultivating, hand to hip, take your left hand to your brick. Jump the brick out in front of your pinky toe. Hike up onto the ball of the back foot. Pour your weight into your standing leg. And then begin rolling open. You can flex your lifted ankle gently and maybe lift your arms. You're just going to go into whatever expression of half moon pose here suits your body. For some of us, it'll be hand at hip. Some people will just be practicing rolling open. It's a lot of organizing for the body, this posture. Hand to hip, lift if you lifted it, and come on up with a bent knee. We're going to do half moon on the other side. So get nice and wide. Inhale, lift. Exhale, float down. Get broad and expansive. And then the right toes turn. Bend the knee. Okay, back hand to hip. Take a hold of your brick. Come onto the ball of the back foot. You're going to give yourself a little moment to just roll the weight into your standing leg. And roll open. That lifted heel, you can practice bringing it up nice and high. Maybe you practice lifting your left arm, but you don't have to. Find the expression of any of the pieces of this pose that really helps you deepen your practice today. Every time we come to the mat, we might find something new to notice. And then hand to hip, bend your knee, come on up to standing, turn the toes. Inhale, lift up, and exhale to your heart center. We're going to take monk's pose together. So pull the heels in, knees out, sit nice and low. Take a nice deep cleansing breath. And if you have tightness in your Achilles, and also perhaps in the calf muscles, because the calf muscles are so strong, you might feel that you might notice that your heels are lifted. And over time, that will release. Just be patient and breathe. Try to lift the heart. And then arms out, press down into the air to push up to standing. Nicely done, yogis. And then you're going to sweep your right toes behind your left heel. Lift your arms up. Take a hold of this right wrist and peel to the left. Opening up the side body. Come back to center. We'll do the other side. So take the left toes behind the right heel. Lift up, hold the left wrist, and glide to the right. Chin away from the throat. Lift on up. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, come to your heart center. Let's take our feet nice and wide for goddess pose. Heels in, toes out. Sit yourself down here in this posture. Inhale, lift up. Touch your fingertips together. And then apana, descending energy, connecting downward. Inhale, perhaps bring to mind something you'd like to practice letting go of this morning. And then exhale, release. Inhale, lift and open, gather it up. Exhale, drop it down into the earth. And then come on up to standing. Turn the toes, step or hop the feet together. So in together, tops of the feet together, little gap between the heels, coming back to Utkatasana. Dial your tailbone towards the earth. Lift and open to receive. Spread the fingertips away from each other. Relax the shoulders. Lift the heart, the throat, the mind. Let everything open to receive. And come to heart center. Inhale, lift up together. Exhale through heart center together. Step back into plank pose. Inhale and plank with your knees up or down. Exhale to slowly lower. Inhale, lift up, Bhujangasana pose. Lift, lengthen, and open. Pause for a breath here. And then gently bring the knees and the inner edges of your feet to touch. Sit back at your heels. Cup your palms open to the sky. Lay your forehead down. Relax your shoulders. And then roll up onto the crown of the head, lifting the hips a little bit. Get some traction in your spine. And then gently come back down. Climb on out, yogis. Lift up into down dog. Find the center point of your mat again. Bend your knees and hop right into it. Walk your hands back. Hands to hips. Come on up to standing. And we're going to come into warrior one together. So let's take the left foot forward to start. Back leg steps way back. We want to really get a nice big stride here with the toes dialed halfway out. So they're not pointing off to the front of your room and they're not pointing to the front of your mat. They're halfway off, halfway out, hands to hips. And you're going to do this combination. It might feel a little bit like you're on a seesaw. You're going to do this combination of pulling the left hip back and the right hip forward as you deepen the bend of your front knee, right? So complex, left hip back, right hip forward, left knee bends. And then you're going to really want to stabilize in that back heel. Right? So you don't want to be rolling into the arch of the foot. Back arch is lifted, back heel is deeply connected. And then inhale, lift your arms. Relax the shoulders, lift the gaze. As you exhale, next time, yogis, gently, slowly bring your arms back. Interlace your fingers, or if that's too intense, hold the forearms. You want to draw, if you're interlacing, draw the arm bones back, coming into this variation of stargazer pose. And then as you exhale, bring yourself forward into humble warrior. Humble warrior, lift the arms up, getting huge range of motion in the shoulders, letting the spine just kind of drape towards the floor. Now you're going to undo the lace of your fingers, bending your elbows, hands come to either side of that front foot, and you're going to rock your weight into that forward leg, lifting your back leg up. And you could take one or two hands to your standing ankle and practice balance. 10 fingertips on the mat, bend the left knee, right foot comes down, come on up to standing, and we're going to do everything on the other side. So we're going to take the right foot forward, give space by letting the left foot step way back. And again, we want the back heel connected, and we want space so that this forward knee can bend. And here we go, moving that seesaw back and forth. Right hip back, left hip forward, right knee bends. Right hip back, left hip forward, right knee bends. Stabilize, use your core, lift your gaze, lift your arms, relax the shoulders. Inhale to lift and open. Exhale, interlace. Go nice and slow here. One thing I love about yoga is it's so good to go slow. No need to rush. Arms come back. Let the heart peel open. Taking a moment to come into a full expression of this variation on stargazer. And then with your next exhale, Simply roll at the hips, roll right into this bent knee. Lift your arms skyward, big range of motion for your shoulders, a deep uncoiling in the spine. Support the spine by engaging the abdominal wall. And then you're going to bend your elbows, undo the lace of your hands, hands to either side of the front foot. Pour your weight forward and lift the back leg. Now, bring yourself to balance on all 10 fingertips or 1 or 2 hands to your standing ankle. And fingertips down, bend that right knee, all 10 toes on the floor, hands to hips. Come on up to standing. Inhale, we lift up. Exhale, come to your heart center. Close your eyes again. This posture is called Samastiti. Rooting down, rising up, noticing breathing, noticing the energy of the heart. Vast and broad and limitless, this expression of our being and breathing. Okay, we're going to come in to one more balance pose this morning, and we're going to pick a foot to root down on. And you can do this pose by either lifting your knee and holding it and doing the balance that way, or you can take your peace fingers and hold your big toe and do the posture with a straightened leg. Either way, yogi's choice. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is pick a leg to stand on first. Bend your knee, either stay there or hold the big toe. And you're going to root down and let this extending arm rise up. When you're ready, you're going to swing yourself open. And when the time feels right to you, you're going to swing yourself back, switch hands for your toe or your knee, and come across midline. And come back and bend the knee and put the foot down. We'll do the other side. Coming into the standing leg, bend the lifting leg. Take a hold of the knee or the toe. Bring yourself out. Find that rooting down, rising up place. And when the time feels right to you, extend your leg off to the side. Or come back to center when the time feels right to you. And you're going to switch hands. And you let that arm go off like a balancing wing. And release. Inhale, lift up together. Exhale, slide out into plank pose together. Get nice and long in plank. And then with your next exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, come into plank. Down dog as you exhale. Inhale, slide into plank. And down dog as you exhale. And stay here, finding all the beautiful elements of down dog, pulling the abdomen up in support of the spine, gently pushing your heels towards the earth, making the arms long, letting the head hang. And then set the knees down. Walk your knees up towards your wrists. Come on over to seated. Make sure you've got a brick over the edge of your mat where you're going to be putting your head later for Shavasana. We're going to come into bridge pose. So what I'd like you to do, yogis, is just lie down on your mat. Now remember that in our bridge pose, we don't look left and right during bridge. We just look right up at our ceiling. Shuffle one at a time or step the shoulder blades deep on the back of the rib cage. Get your feet firm on your mat, and when you're ready, with an inhale, lift your hips up, and then interlace your hands beneath you. And it might mean that you step your shoulder blades a little bit deeper onto your rib cage. Now you can stay right here, lifting your hips nice and high, with either eyes open or closed, looking at the ceiling, or you can tripod by pressing into one foot and lifting the other foot completely up towards the ceiling. And then take the lifted foot down and switch feet, lifting the other leg straight up. And then take the lifted foot down, separate your hands and slowly roll the spine down from top to bottom. Close your eyes, the yin after the yang. Effort and ease, right? The effort of that water flowing over the rocky rapids, and then it meets the sea, and things become calmer. Not so many boundaries, broader and limitless. Shuffle your shoulder blades onto the back of your rib cage again. Get sturdy in the connection of your feet to your mat. Lift your hips, interlace. Go nice and high here. Lifting the hips, either stay with symmetry, or if you like tripoding, come back to that. Just keep lifting through the hips. If you've lifted a leg, put it down. Go to the other one. Hips keep lifting, back body is working hard here, stabilizing the spine, building up lots of stamina. Foot comes down. Move the hands out, roll the spine down from top to bottom. Close your eyes again and just notice what's happening. Okay, last bridge for this series. Wide-legged bridge. So feet come off towards the edges of the mat. Heels will be on the mat, toes on your floor. Shoulder blades, once again, step deeply onto the back of the body. Dig into the earth with your heels to lift the hips here. Interlace your hands underneath you with straight or mostly straight arms. If you'd like to strengthen in the glutes a little bit, just the tiniest tip of your tailbone towards the ceiling will get a deeper engagement. A few more breaths here, building stamina, getting into the layers of muscle on the back body that support and strengthen us and give us good posture, make us feel strong and open-hearted. And then you're gonna bring your hands away and slowly, at your own pace, roll the spine down from top to bottom. And then slide the soles of your feet to touch. Lift your arms up overhead, stretching the arms full length. And then with your next exhale, bending your elbows, exhaling slowly till you get to that place of deep peace in the shoulders. Close your eyes. Let the breath be smooth and deep and cleansing. And then lift the knees up. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Roll your nose up towards your knees. And then roll your ankles in one direction and then the other. Place your head down. Come into happy baby. So hold the outside edges of your feet. Give yourself a little rocking. Rocking is really soothing to the central nervous system. Rolling across the muscles of the spine and all the architecture of the spine. Rolling across the backs of the hips. And come to center. Release the feet down and let your feet be at the edges of your mat. Find that boundary, the boundary of your mat. And then bring your arms up overhead and once more bend those elbows till you get to that sweet, deep release spot. Pause there. Let the knees fall to the right. Now, your knees will be separated by quite a bit of space here. And you can just do this. This feels really good to the whole, all those tight muscles and tendons and ligaments that we sometimes notice in our hips. If you want to deepen it a bit, pick up your right foot and place it on your left knee. And that will weight the left knee down a little bit. If you feel like it feels good just to have the feet on the mat, the edges of the mat, go with that variation. Just whatever feels good serves your practice this morning. And then come up to center, getting the feet back to the edges of the mat if they moved at all. And with an exhale, just take your time, letting the knees roll to the left. And again, you can pick up your left foot and weight your right knee down a little more deeply into the twist, or just leave both feet at the edges of the mat. Come back to center. And either bring your knees towards your nose again, or take a full body stretch, or maybe a little bit of each, whatever you think you need to just kind of get ready to go into the more still postures of our practice as we wind down. Bend your knees at some point and place your grip behind your hips. Legs extend down the mat, arms lift up overhead. Take a couple of deep cleansing breaths here, creating space for our organs, our digestion, the muscles that are so strong and well developed, that our hips and legs. Give them a good stretch while they're not doing any weight bearing. And then let your arms come down, palms open to the sky. Get your arms heavy, heavy, heavy on your mat. Relax the fingers and the palms. Bend the knees and lift the not the hips, the feet. Lift the feet right up towards your ceiling. Close your eyes and let the earth just hold you for the next few breaths, while the fluids of the body reverse direction, right? Like the beautiful tides. The tide comes in and the tide goes out. And then it goes in again and goes out again. And that is similar to our yoga practice. And we can have our heart over our head, or the feet over the hips. And the breath comes in and the breath goes out. And then you're going to gently bring your feet down. Remove your brick when you're ready and settle into a peaceful lying down posture on your mat. Taking time to get comfortable. Relaxing the jaw, relaxing the eyes. I'm going to play the rain stick for you for several breaths. As you settle in, just let the mind open. to receive. Keeping your awareness inward. Notice your breathing. Imagine that each inhale is coming right into the left nostril. The left side of the nose breathes in. And notice that the right side of the nose breathes out. And just imagine this. Your inhale is drawn in on the left side of the nose, and the exhale releases through the right side of the nose. And let this breath move in that way, in on the left and out on the right. And keep that cycle moving. And see if you can slow it down, taking your time for a very full inhale and taking the time for a complete exhale. And we'll do some counted breathing together. I'll count to a slow count of 4 as we inhale together, and a slow count of 4 as we exhale together. Let all the air in your lungs be exhaled. And inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Natural breathing. Go back to easy, relaxed, natural breathing. Vast, broad. The feeling of limitlessness. And rest in that. Rest in that as we prepare to journey together in guided meditation.
Peaceful breath. Noticing the easy flow of the inhalation and the exhalation, ideally through your nose. Body resting, mind quieting. As your body sinks and rests with gravity, your spine is straight. Your shoulders are easily back. You notice your fingers and your toes, yet you breathe. Just breathe. Possibly counting your exhalations to 10. Or not, just breathing the inflow, the release of the exhalation. Noticing the lightness of your being. And the peaceful energy that you've created, and that we've created with our yoga. And sustain it with our mindful practice of breathing. Not complicated yet to notice things. One breath at a time. And yet allowing your mind to rest and flow and recognizing there's no right way or wrong way within your meditation. Just as in your life and in our lives, we just do our best and allow the embrace of the world and the peaceful silence. And the breath, the peacefulness of this moment, allowing your mind, yet Noticing your body sinking right into the earth, etched and strong and beautiful like a mountain, your body like a mountain. On the earth, springtime earth with the water flowing nearby, the streams, the rivers, the ocean, coming down in spring rain, rising up in the mist, the flow of the water, the fundamental rootedness and grace of the earth, the body like a mountain, the earth, the water, and the air you breathe, the air, the oxygen rising up to the reflected blue sky, the blue sky of your brain, the blue sky of the beautiful art that we create within our lives, and rising to the universe and to the heavens, to the heaven that you understand, earth, water, air, and of course, the warmth of the sun, the light of the sun, the fire of the sun, and that beautiful slight flame within your heart and all hearts, warming and illuminating as we once again return to the calming flow of our breath on the earth with the water and the air and the fire. Just breathing and noticing ever so slightly. This calming breath, this calming breath. And like a sunrise, notice your intention emerge within your mind. Your meditation on your mind is your intention right now. What is your intention? And while the calm flow of the breath continues, allow your mind to consider your intention, feeling your reflective being like light. Your fingers, your toes, your warm body, the cool air on your face, the breath, the intention, and centering there in your heart, within the extraordinary generosity of your heart and all hearts to be able to feel and not hide, recognizing the sorrow and yet returning again and again to joyful effort like yoga and breathing and a loved one's smile, your own smile. Breathing and living your intention, connecting and doing your best with compassion for yourself and all life, recognizing with each breath what you do does make a difference. Living, learning, within the depth and the lightness of springtime. And this, your precious life.
With your next inhale, lift your arms up overhead and take a full body stretch. And then get very comfortable on your mat. And pause for just a moment to notice how you're feeling. And then bend your knees and gently roll to your right, bringing yourself up into a closed-eyed seated position on your mat. Find yourself rooting down, rising up. And with your next inhale, bring your hands palm to palm in Anjali Mudra in front of your lifted heart. Bring to mind the intention you set for yourself at the beginning of your practice today. Take a moment to consider your intention. Thank you so much, yogis, for joining and co-creating this practice we share. The light in John and I shines on and honors the beautiful light in you. Namaste.
Namaste.